We're going to start off the map making process with an easy first step, creating the general shape of your world. Right now, you won't be drawing anything very complicated, just the general shape of your world. Don't worry about getting all the details down right now, because we'll be taking care of those details in later steps. But before you begin, you need to decide how much of your world you will show on your map. Will you show your entire world on your map with all of its continents and oceans? Or will you only do a portion of your world, the small part of your world where your story takes place? You are not bound to one approach or another. Drawing your whole world will help you as the author have a better understanding of how your world is shaped, and for this reason I would encourage you to eventually create your entire world map. You are going to draw a line between the land and the sea. Think of it as a rough draft of the coastline. You could be creating a portion of a continent or islands. Don't worry about inland bodies of water just yet. We'll be covering those in a later lesson. When you finish your rough draft of the coastline, you may end up with a blob or a series of blobs, or a meandering line that goes from one edge of the paper to another. That's all you have to do for right now. Not so impressive looking, but don't worry. You will be creating more details in future steps. Before we get too much stuff on your map, now might be a good time to also consider distance. How many miles or kilometers does your map cover? How far do the characters of your story travel over your map? For reference, a person can walk about 4 miles per hour or 6.5 kilometers per hour over flat, even roads. That means that if they travel 8 hours in a day, they will cover about 30 miles or about 50 kilometers. A horse in good condition can travel 40 miles or 65 kilometers in a day. But if it's ridden hard, a horse can cover 50 to 60 miles or 80 to 95 kilometers in a day. Wagon trains, on the other hand, are slow, covering only 10 to 20 miles or 15 to 30 kilometers in a day. So here's something to ponder as you begin to make your map. How much distance does it cover? How long would it take a person or a horse or a wagon train to get from one end of your map to the other? To help you get a better idea of what distance looks like, I've included in this lesson a link to a map of Earth that gives you the radius of different distances. I figure that by looking at areas familiar to you and seeing varying radial distances around these areas, it will help you figure out how you want to size your world. So your first assignment in making your map is drawing out the general shape of your world. As I said before, it may just look like a blob or a wavy line going from one end of your page to the other. But that's okay. After you've done that, I want you to figure out distances. Create a scale on your map. How many miles are in an inch? How many kilometers are in a centimeter? Remember, this is just a rough draft, so nothing has to be perfect or final now. You can always edit later on. For now, just put a general shape down on the paper and give yourself an idea of the distance from one end of your map to the other. Once you've finished with that step, move on to the next, where we will be creating mountains. I look forward to continuing with you in the map making process. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. This was a lesson in my world building workshop for fantasy writing. You can get the full course on this playlist right here. And if you'd like to get the course without any ads or without any interruptions, you can get it on Udemy, which I'll include in a link in the description. So again, thanks for watching and happy world building and happy writing.